Okay, I'll show you the progress on this Sportster here. Gino's been doing a bunch of fabrication work. So right now we got the oil tank mocked up where we're going to kind of put it at. So we got it running almost equal to frame, but not quite. We got good clearance to the back of our motor. The oil lines are off the rocker box. It'd still be nice to get another quarter more inch, but you live with what you got. And we're not laying on top of the case no more. We got the piece of wood in here. So these are about 5/8 3/4 thick, as I remember. So we still have to make up the holding hardware, but you can see the original strap piece is still on the bottom. We cut the one out here at the top. We can probably still come back a little bit further, but not much. But we'll get a mounting system in here to hold that. We gotta work on that yet. He's got the rear fender mounted up solid now, so we added 2 more bolt holes up here and bolted that up underneath here. Kept the hardware straight so it doesn't need to tire up. And that makes this good and solid here. Then on the front we've added 2 holes, 2 more bolts right here, because this one here ain't doing squat. So he welded a plate to the frame under there. Kind of hard to see up in there, but welded a plate up in there, bolted 2 bolts, and that ties it all together. We still might make a strap that goes between the holes in here to reinforce the fender. Be kind of like this coil bracket here where you put a reinforcement strap on to keep from crushing it. So I like doing that so it sandwiches the fender between your holding system, and it makes it so it doesn't break out the holes, especially on rigid frames where they bounce around a lot. So we might wind up making some stuff like that still. Got the battery box mounted in here. You wind up moving this thing over about a 1/2 inch at least. This used to be right on the chain over here, so now it's got more clearance. We have clearance now underneath the fender here. We put the small battery in here, and then we got wood shims down in here, which are hard to see right now, but we made up a wood structure to support, take up the distance on the battery. Here you can see it over here on this side. There's the piece of wood right there. So we kept the stock covers in here. Could have shortened this up about a 1/2 inch and dropped it even lower, but you'd have to rebend the strap, remake everything. So this system, it works good here, clears the fender, so we left it tall. We're still working on the back brake assembly here. It was dragging in here on the brake drum. We took it apart right here. You can see where it's eating up the whole area. So the shoe is rubbing. Here's your cam right here. And the shoe was hitting right here. And the spring looked like it was rubbing a little bit too. So we're going to go ahead and put a spacer in here. We're going to put a spacer right between here and the backing plate and against that bearing right there. So you can see where it's hitting. Everything hits just a little bit. So we're going to wind up probably putting about a 40-50 thou spacer in here. And we'll JB weld that in so you don't have to worry about it falling out when you pull your axle out, because it'd be a pain in the ass to try to put back in there. So that'll space things out and get everything where it gets clearance. The other thing they did on this bike was they had the brake mechanism on upside down. So instead of having the brake lever going uphill like it's supposed to be, it's going downhill, because on a rigid frame it's hard to get the brake rod through here where the chain guard is and the frame rail and clear everything. So the problem is when you do this is this cam here is radiused on this side to work the correct way, and it's sharp edged on the back side, which is the direction you're using it now. But see, now you're pulling on this lever, and you're working the shoe. Damn it, it's a stiff spring. So you're working it right here, and it's a lot of movement for very little lever moving up here. So it's very, very hard to move it. And so you have a lot of foot pressure for very little travel, and it really makes the brake hard to work. So when you have it in correctly, it works a lot better. It's like having power brakes almost. It's just real easier. You have a lot more leverage on it. So if you're going to keep it like this, we're going to have to radius cut this cam so it looks like this on both sides here. So we'll have to radius this edge here. So you have to do that on both the top and the bottom. So that's one thing most people never do, but it makes the brakes work a lot better when you put things in there correctly. So so we got to work on that yet. This is the old barrel that we took out that leaks acid all over the place. Put a seal bearing there so it doesn't. Looks like the dog's having fun. You having fun over there, Scooby? Look at them eyes glow in the dark. He wants to go home and eat. Alright, so we got the oil tank going on. We still got to work on the seat yet. Haven't got anything done on that yet. Let me see, what else did we do on this thing? Been working up here in the wiring and found a starter relay jammed up in under here for some reason, because there's a kickstart bike, there's no starter. So doing the onion figures, they were using it for the headlight up here, which has a quartz bulb up in here, an H4 bulb, but you don't need this for that. It's not enough power. So we're going to probably wind up rewiring this thing a little bit. This wiring doesn't look all that good anyway. They're using the quick disconnect electrical that you use up on your fluorescent lights up there. This is what they use when they put them in. So they got that on his bike, which I don't think is exactly a good way of doing things. Hey Mutt, you're in the way again. Yeah, that's right. Look at that. Look at that Mutt. So we'll have to work on that a little bit. We still got to work on the brake here and move this up here. We're keeping a small sprocket on it, so that'll give you lots of clearance up under here, but it means you don't go as fast or more RPM when you drive it. So we still got to work on the foot pegs here. Got to get some correct pegs on this thing, and then I want to keep the small pegs, so I'm going to have to modify things and put a male end in there. We got the parts. There's the parts. We'll wind up cutting these out here. Cutting this out, drilling it out, retapping it, and we're going to wind up putting this in here. And if that doesn't work, we're going to wind up welding this onto this, because we're going to be close here on our clearance to our shaft. So, depending on where the foot peg's going to wind up. See, if the bolt head is in here, you can't put it close like this. You have to put it way back here. The customer's foot isn't real big, so it makes it hard to work the shifter when you're way the hell up here and your foot doesn't go that far. So we might have to do some more playing with that yet. Modification still. But anyway, that's where we're at right now on this. Just kind of tack a little bit every day on it, and it's a lot of little fabrication stuff that takes forever to do. Not really worth showing video and everything, I guess, but it's hard to video when you're the one working on it. So you can see we got good clearances all through here and everything else. And under here on the chain guard still. See, everything's got a spacer in it so it doesn't drag. So, all right, well, that's where we're at for now. So we'll have some more updates as we go. And there's the dog still playing on the floor. Hey, Scooby. You ready to go home? Yeah. There we go.